Well, welcome back, my friends. I'm here with Mike Joyce. He is the Director of Development and Public Relations for QLI. Mike, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me on.
Well, we're going to talk about an event I absolutely love. It's called An Evening at the Fair, every other year. But let's talk about the event and kind of what is an evening at the fair.
Yeah. Well, we brag that it's the best fundraiser in Omaha, which we would not do if we couldn't back it up. So it is really just an immersive event, fair themed at Baxter Arena. Basically, you pay for your ticket, you come in, and there's fair themed food and drink. There's 18 awesome fair themed games and a ton of prizes, live entertainment. And like I said, all that's included with the ticket, and obviously for a great cause. It is pretty surreal. You get down in there, and the decorations are really just overwhelming, and there's so much activity.
Yeah.
It's just a ton of fun.
I mean, I've been to it for many years, and I've been to it at the Baxter Arena. And you walk in, I mean, you don't even know you're in the Baxter Arena. It is just, it's like you're in a completely different universe, so to speak. And there's, like you said, there's games and there's food. One of the things I do want to ask you about is you have a Nashville recording artist this year performing. So tell us a little bit about Drake White.
Yeah, Drake White is coming. So not only is he just a big name in country music, I'm sure plenty of your readers and followers will know that name just due to his music. He actually has a special connection to our mission, which is neurological injury and disease, which we can talk about a little later. He has an AVM, which is something that you're born with. It's just a malformation in your brain, and it actually caused him to have a stroke on stage a few years ago. He's a younger guy, and obviously a scary moment for him and his family. But someone here at QLI is a mega fan and had the good thought to reach out and just see if he'd be willing to come do this sort of outside of his regular touring schedule. And we're really grateful that he jumped at the chance, and he's been an awesome person to work with, his whole team. So
yeah. And when you have that connection too, I think it just brings, especially the people attending and everybody, just closer together.
Yeah, he really immediately understood what we're raising money for, and was really excited. We're grateful it didn't take much of an arm twist to get him to come out. So. Yeah.
Well, exciting. Well, that's that leads into the next question. What is the mission, and what is QLI for those who might not know?
Sure. So QLI is a rehab facility here in Omaha, our one and only location. And we basically handle neurological injury and disease. So, our bread and butter is sort of acquired brain injury or spinal cord injury, stroke rehabilitation. And we're really that last stop in the continuum of care, where the vast majority of the people who come through rehab here will go home. That's their next stop. So not only are we doing physical rehab and all the things you think about, speech pathology and occupational therapy, but we're thinking about what's next for them. What does their life look like after they've sustained this injury?
And your facility, I mean, QLI just in itself, and I've watched it since when it first opened. I mean, decades ago, and just how it's grown, and really how the technology makes a huge difference.
Yeah, we've been open for over 30 years, and I can tell you it definitely looks a lot different now than it did back then. We have about 65 acres out here on North 72nd Street, and like to your point, we've added all sorts of spaces for equipment and technology, and continue to add really exciting cutting edge technology to different pilot programs and in our gate lab as this technology sort of comes into focus in how we can use it in rehab. So
yeah, and I mean, just speaking of 30 years, Metro's been around a little over 30 years. So I mean, I actually remember being at, I think, the ribbon cutting or the donor opening, or
sure.
that was years. I can't remember what year is what, but it's come such a long way. In
1990 is when we broke ground.
Okay.
So
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Well, let's talk a little bit. We talked about QLI. Specifically, where did the funds raised go towards?
Yeah, so we have a really, really important program called Life Path Services. So I touched on it a little bit, and we're obviously very focused on providing excellent medical care and
Yeah.
physical rehabilitation and all of that. But I think the difference is that what is looking at what your life is going to look like. The
Yes.
people have come to us after often months in the hospital where they're just grinding it out day to day, them and their
Yeah.
families. And when they get here, they have to start looking at what are things going to look like when you go home. What's the
Yeah.
family unit going to look like? What's going to get you out of bed in the morning? How are you going to reconnect with your community after so much time away, and now with potentially some barriers, be it
Yep.
physical or emotional or cognitive.
Yeah.
And the Life Path Services Department is where that all happens. And it's unfortunately very rarely paid for by insurance. They obviously will pay for the physical recovery, but not so much the kind of emotional recovery or putting
Wow.
together the
Yeah.
families again and things like that. So that's what this is all about, is funding that program. So as people are here going through rehab, that they can really start to look and put the pieces back together for when they go home, for what the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years are going to look like.
That really is like the next part of their life's journey in a space that they haven't occupied before.
Right. And it's just so important to their success, right? The physical and all that and cognitive is important, but really knowing how to live a joyful, meaningful life when they leave is as important, if not more, right? Then
absolutely. Because I mean, I would say the majority of them, if not all, I mean, they're there because of some tragedy that has happened along the way. So
exactly. Their lives have been turned upside down.
Yeah.
And totally broken apart in all sorts of ways. And our job is basically to figure out what's important to them and find a way to put those pieces back together and then send them on their way with a good plan.
Yeah. Well, again, September 16th at the Baxter Arena, an evening at the fair. Where can people buy tickets? And
Sure. Very simply. www.teamqli.fair will take you right to the event page. There's a big old button that says buy tickets, so you can't miss it. They're $200 a piece, but again, that's all inclusive for your food, all of your drink, the live entertainment, and then a ton of games and prizes and stuff like that. So,
and I will say now, if I remember correctly, I mean, there's games where you can actually like win stuff. I mean,
I think virtually every game I think comes with prizes. So I mean, people walk out of there with just armloads of stuff. So if it's wine toss, you're carrying out bottles of wine or bottles of beer. There's tons of gift cards or gift packages. Nothing but cakes. Doing a traditional cakewalk.
It's just fun. It's just
you can really
fun.
Carry out some loot from the fair for sure.
All right. Well, Mike, thank you so much for joining me today. And again, this is such a fun event, and this is such an important organization, and you do such amazing work for people. I mean, around the United States. I mean, you really it's just an important work. So, thanks for joining me today.
Yeah. No, thanks for having me. This was fun.
And folks, we will be right back.